It goes without saying that there's a lot of fan-made Yu-Gi-Oh! Content on YouTube. So it's this one, and probably the most realistic one is the one with talking dolls. To all two Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans who don't know about this series, this is Xstevens' Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. Well, it doesn't actually have a name, it's just a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series made by Xstevens. It has various multi-part episodes that are all pretty much standalone. There is technically an overarching plot, but you could totally just walk in, watch one two-parter, and then walk out feeling totally satisfied. Which is extremely refreshing in this day and age, you know? Oh, and before I forget, this duel was requested by Mad Mike Sports TV and technically Ian Lamont, though Ian only requested Xstevens in general, while Mike specifically asked for this duel, so it's mostly Mad Mike Sports TV. But yeah. But to get back to the point, in today's two-parter, the main character, Onomatopoeia, and her new friend/teammate, Jenny, come out of the mall and are catcalled by a hustler named Ramesh. After some outdated, cringe dialogue, he challenges the girls to a duel. If he wins, they go back to his house and mash their toys together, if you know what I mean. If one of them wins, the winner gets a free pot of Dueling, which, to be fair, was a really good card back then. Heck, it's still a good card now, so just imagine how good it was back then. Probably up there with bonfire prices. God, I can't wait for that statement to be dated. Onomatopoeia accepts the challenge, but Ramesh says that he wants to duel Jenny. Jenny's fine with it though, as she wanted to test out her new Flambeau deck anyway. So, with all the setup out of the way and skipping any cringe in between segments, let's begin! The duel begins and Ramesh goes first. He draws and his opening hand consists of Smashing Ground, Book of Life, Beast of the Pharaoh, Pharaoh from a Different Dimension, Foolish Burial, and Goblin Zombie. He begins by activating Foolish Burial, sending one monster from his deck to the graveyard. He sends Leg Spreader Zombie. He then sets his Goblin Zombie in face down defense position and ends his turn. It's Jenny's turn. She draws and her opening hand consists of Raikou Lightsworn Hunter, Flambeau Counter, Flambeau Archer, Book of Moon, Flambeau Granica, and Neo Flambeau Origin. She starts by summoning her Flambeau Granica. Next, since she controls a Flambeau monster and her opponent has 3 or fewer cards in his graveyard, she can special summon the tutor monster, Neo Flambeau Origin, in attack position. She then has her level 2 Origin tune her level 4 Granica. She synchro summons level 6 Flambeau Ursuales. She has an attack and destroy Ramesh's set Goblin Zombie. And due to Ursuales' effect, Ramesh takes piercing battle damage, so he loses 1,050 life points. Goblin Zombie's second effect goes through though. Since it was sent from the field to the graveyard, Ramesh can add a zombie monster from his deck to his hand as long as it has 1,200 or less defense points. He fetches the 0 defense Zombie Master. Also, since Ursuales inflicted battle damage, it gains an extra 300 attack points. Jenny sets Flambeau Counter face down and ends her turn. Why not set Book of Moon? I don't know, maybe she wants to save it for later. She does have a couple flip monsters in her deck, so maybe she wants to see if she can get double usage out of them. You know, like flip the Raikou and then set the rest back down again so she can flip it again later, for example. Or she just figured she had enough early on. You know, I mean, she's only dueling for her virginity, I assume anyway. Though that's certainly a shakeup from the usual duel for your life, your soul, or the fate of the world, or all 3 combined. But I'm getting way off topic. Misplay Jenny, back to the duel. It's Ramesh's turn. He draws and gets Kasha. He normal summons his Zombie Master. He then uses its effect. By discarding 1 card from his hand to the graveyard, in this case Beast of the Pharaoh, he's then able to special summon a level 4 or lower zombie monster from either player's graveyard. And since Beast of the Pharaoh is there now, Ramesh can, and does, special summon it. Next, he uses Plague Spreader Zombie's effect from the graveyard. By placing his Kasha on top of his deck, he can special summon Plague Spreader Zombie to the field, but it will be banished when it leaves the field. He then has his level 2 Plague Spreader Zombie tune his level 3 Beast of the Pharaoh and level 4 Zombie Master to synchro summon level 9 Mistworm. Mistworm's effect activates. On synchro summon, Ramesh can target the 3 cards Jenny controls and return them back to her hand. He targets Ursuales and a set Flambeau Counter, but Ursuales goes back to the extra deck due to these weird things we have called rules. Beast of the Pharaoh's effect activates as well. If it's used as material for a synchro summon, Ramesh can special summon 1 level 4 or lower zombie monster from his graveyard. So he special summons back Goblin Zombie in attack mode. Bit of a misplay by Ramesh. He could have used his beast to revive Zombie Master, and because Zombie Master is a soft once per turn, he could then use his effect again, discarding a card from his hand to then revive Goblin Zombie and do even more damage. Or he could just use that smashing ground in your hand to get rid of your swellies and attack directly. Of course, if he did that, then Jenny would probably just chain with her Flame Veil counter, banish a Flame Veil, and negate smashing. But Ramesh doesn't know that's her face down. And to be fair, Ramesh could also want to keep some of the stuff in his hand. You know, he might not want to like throw his entire hand away or just do a little bit extra damage. But if that's the case, then fair enough. Anyways, Ramesh orders Mistworm and Goblin Zombie to attack directly, dealing 3,600 points of damage to Jenny. Goblin Zombie's first effect then activates. Since it inflicted battle damage, Jenny has to send the top card of her deck to the graveyard. She sends Flame Veil Baby. Ramesh ends his turn. It's Jenny's turn. She draws and gets Flame Veil Fire Dog. She summons it and has it attack Goblin Zombie, destroying it into the 800 points of damage to Ramesh. Goblin Zombie's second effect goes off again, searching another Zombie Master. Fire Dog's effect goes off as well though. Jenny can special summon a fire monster with 200 less defense from her deck. So she summons Flame Veil Magician. Now in her main phase 2, she has her level 4 Magician tune her level 4 Fire Dog to make the level 8 Stardust Dragon! Jenny then sets Book of Moon and resets Flame Veil counter and ends her turn. It's Ramesh's turn. He draws and gets back his Kasha. He activates Smashing Ground to try to destroy the Stardust Dragon. Jenny chains though with Stardust's effect. Since a card would be destroyed by card effect, she contributes Stardust Dragon to negate and destroy that card. But Stardust will return at the end phase. Or rather it would, if Ramesh didn't think of that, because he uses Book of Life. Now, Ramesh is allowed to special summon one zombie-type monster from his graveyard at the cost of banishing one monster from the opponent's graveyard. People say cards nowadays are busted. Back then we had a card that your opponent had to pay the cost of. He aims to revive his first zombie master and banish Stardust Dragon, but Jenny chained, activating her trap Flame Veil counter. By banishing a fire monster with 200 defense points, she can negate and destroy a spell or trap Ramesh uses. So, Origin is banished and the Book of Life dies. Ramesh then orders Mistworm to attack directly. Jenny, however, activates Book of Moon, which sets one monster on the field into face down defense position. So, she sets Mistworm face down, thus negating its attack. Ramesh ends his turn, and Stardust Dragon returns to the field. Now here's the thing, Ramesh went through that entire turn without normal summoning, so you gotta ask, why didn't he summon his second Zombie Master to attack directly, or revive the first Zombie Master, and then use the first Zombie Master's effect to bring back another zombie from the graveyard like Goblin Zombie? Well, I imagine that he knows Stardust is coming back either way next turn, and he doesn't want to risk losing his main combo player. Plus, again, he'd probably rather keep all the cards in his hand himself rather than, just throwing them all in the graveyard to do yet more damage. Remember, this is 2010 Yu-Gi-Oh! The graveyard wasn't yet a second hand. Man, we're closer to 2040 than we are 2010. We're not, actually. I just wanted you all to have a slight panic attack there. So yeah, that's my reasoning as to why Ramesh didn't summon any other monsters. Although, if you want to talk up to him misplay, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. It's Jenny's turn. She draws and gets Gold Sarcophagus. Jenny summons the tuner monster, Flame Veil Archer. She then has Stardust Dragon attack and destroy Mistworm. She then has Archer attack directly, dealing 1,000 points of damage to Ramesh. Then, during her main phase 2, she uses Gold Sarcophagus. She banishes the second Flame Veil Fire Dog in her deck face up, and in 2 turns, during her standby phase, she can add that Fire Dog to her hand. Jenny ends her turn with that. It's Ramesh's turn. He draws and gets Dandelion. He sets Dandelion face down and ends his turn. It's Jenny's turn. She draws and gets Neo Flame Veil Saber. She summons it. She attacks Dandelion with Stardust Dragon. Upon its destruction, Dandelion spawns 2 fluff tokens in defense position. They have no attack or defense points, so Archer and Saber attack and destroy both tokens. Then, during her main phase 2, Jenny tunes the level 4 Saber with the level 3 Archer to synchro summon the level 7 Ancient Flame Veil Deity. Deity's effect activates. It can banish cards from Ramesh's graveyard up to the number of cards in his hand, and then it gains attack points for each card banished times 200. Since Ramesh has 3 cards in hand, she banishes Dandelion, Goblin Zombie, and Mistworm. So Deity's attack points go up by 600, giving it 3,100. I personally would have gone for more zombie cards, but going after something annoying like Dandelion and a boss monster like Mistworm makes sense to me, so no misplay. Jenny ends her turn. It's Ramesh's turn. He draws and gets Shooting Doji. He then normal summons his second Zombie Master. He then uses its effect, discarding Shooting Doji to special summon Shooting Doji. Now Doji's first effect activates. By banishing 2 zombie monsters from his graveyard, he can draw 1 card. He banishes Beast of the Pharaoh and the first zombie master, and draws Bottomless Trap Hole. Now, because he controls at least 2 zombie monsters, he can special summon Kasha from his hand. And when Kasha is summoned, all other monsters in the field are shuffled back into their respective decks. Also, Kasha gains 1000 attack points for each zombie monster that was shuffled back. And since there were 2, it gains 2000 attack points. Kasha attacks directly, dealing 2000 points of damage to Jenny. Then, in the second main phase, Ramesh activates Barrow for different dimension, which returns up to 3 banished monsters back into their respective duelists' graveyards. He targets Plague Splitter Zombie, Dandelion, and Jenny's Flamvell Fire Dog, meaning she won't get it from Goldstark next turn. And I'll let Jenny tell you what she thinks of that move right there.
That's mean!
Finally, Ramesh sets Bottomless Trap Hole face down and ends his turn.
It's Jenny's turn. She draws and gets Rekindling! She draws Rekindling, yes, Rekindling. Jenny activates Rekindling, so she can special summon as many fire monsters with exactly 200 defense from her graveyard as possible. But they're all banished during the end phase. So she special summons 5 Flamvells: Fire Dog, Saber, Magician, Baby, and Granika, all in attack mode. But because every party needs a pooper, Ramesh activates his trap card, Bottomless Trap Hole.
Now every monster that Jenny summoned with 1500 attack points or more are destroyed and removed from play.
So she's left with 2 tuner monsters, Magician and Baby. Jenny can still work with this though. She normal summons Raiko, Lightsworn Hunter, from her hand. She then has her level 4 Magician tune her level 2 Raiko to synchro summon back to the field, level 6 Flamvell your Swaleys. Your Swaleys attacks and destroys Kasha, dealing 100 points of damage to Ramesh and then gaining 300 attack points. Baby then attacks directly, getting 800 points of damage. With that, Jenny ends her turn, and Baby is banished. It's Ramesh's turn. He draws and gets Spirit Reaper. He sets it face down and ends his turn. It's Jenny's turn. She draws and gets Neo Flamvell Garuda. She normal summons Garuda. She then has her Swaleys attack the set Spirit Reaper. Ramesh takes 2200 piercing damage, and your Swaleys gets another 300 attack points. But Spirit Reaper's effect prevents it from being destroyed by battle. Jenny ends her turn, and during her end phase, Garuda's effect activates. Since she controls another Flamvell monster, she can banish 1 monster from Ramesh's graveyard. So, she rebanishes Plague Spreader Zombie. It's kind of funny how these 2 are doing more during their second main phases and end phases than they are their main phase 1s. Makes this duel a little bit more unique, if anything, I guess. It's Ramesh's turn. He draws and gets the tuner monster, Debris Dragon. He normal summons Debris Dragon. Debris Dragon's effect then activates. When it's normal summoned, Ramesh can special summon a monster from his graveyard with 500 attack or less in attack position, but its effect is negated while it's on the field. He special summons Dandelion. He then tunes Dandelion with Debris Dragon to synchro summon Black Rose Dragon. Dandelion's effect activates and Black Rose Dragon's chains, and I'll let an expert explain what Black Rose Dragon's effect is.
Nuke the field!
Next, Dandelion resolves and Ramesh gets 2 fluff tokens in defense mode. Ramesh ends his turn. It's Jenny's turn. She draws and gets Flamvell Pawn. She summons it and has it attack and destroy a fluff token. She ends her turn there. It's Ramesh's turn. He draws and gets Pot of Avarice. He uses it, shuffling back into his deck Kasha, Spirit Reaper, Debris Dragon, Dandelion, and Black Rose Dragon to his extra deck and deck respectively to draw 2 cards.
He gets Mizuki and Torrential Tribute.
He normal summons Mizuki. He then has it Decapitate Pawn! Good lord. Anyway, it deals 1500 points of damage to Jenny. Pawn's effect activates though, letting her add a fire monster with exactly 200 defense from her deck to her hand, since it was destroyed by battle. So she adds a 3rd Flamvell Fire Dog. Ramesh sets his Torrential Tribute face down and ends his turn. It's Jenny's turn. She draws and gets Super Nimble Mega Hamster. She sets her hamster face down and ends her turn. It's Ramesh's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets an unknown card. This card goes unused and is ultimately just a brick, so let's just say it's Mystical Space Tycoon. It was a pretty solid staple at the time, and Jenny has no face down, so yeah, I'm saying it's MST. Taking the cassette monster as Fire Dog, he attacks it with Mizuki. But Jenny tricked him. It's actually the set Super Nimble Mega Hamster. So Ramesh takes 100 points of damage. And since the hamster was flipped face up, Jenny can now summon a level 3 or lower beast monster from her deck in face down defense mode. So she sets a second copy of the level 2 Raiko Lightsworn Hunter from her deck. So many duelists in this series play multiple copies of cards, and they actually follow the ban list at the time like you would in real life. It's kind of unnerving, but in a good way, you know? Ramesh ends his turn. It's Jenny's turn, and the final turn of the duel. She draws and gets Cold Wave. She activates it. Now neither Ramesh nor her can set or play any spell or trap cards until the beginning of Jenny's next turn. Next, she normal summons her third and final Flamvell Fire Dog. She then flip summons the Raiko. Raiko's effect activates. Since it was flipped face up, Jenny can destroy one card in the field. Not really caring, she destroys the face down Torrential Tribute. And now Jenny has to build the top 3 cards in her deck for cost. She mills Charge the Light Brigade, Solemn Judgment, and a second Rekindling. Like I said, multiples. What the frig is this? You're not going to play multiples unless it's a Blue Eyes White Dragon. She then switches her hamster into attack position and enters her battle phase. She first has her Raiko attack and destroy the last remaining fluff token. Then, Fire Dog attacks and destroys Mizuki. Fire Dog's effect activates, and she summons a second Granika from her deck in attack mode. Granika attacks directly, dealing 1,700 points of damage to Ramesh. And then...
Here comes the money shot!
Hamster attacks directly, winning the duel and earning Jenny her own pot of duality. So, could Ramesh have beaten Jenny? To put it simply, I don't think so. I actually ran this idea through some alternative scenarios, and I'll actually run you through a couple of them. Now, the first scenario involves making a change to the duel. We're back on turn 2, and everything so far is the same as the original timeline. Except now, Jenny sets her Book of Moon as well as the Flamvell counter face down. Then, Ramesh does the exact same combo he does originally and makes Mistborn, and tries to bounce all 3 cards Jenny controls. Except now, Jenny chains by using her Book of Moon. So, she sets the Mistworm face down earlier than originally. Now, Jenny's other 2 cards are still balanced, and Ramesh will probably still summon back and attack directly with Goblin Zombie. So we will still mill and all that, but Jenny took way less damage this turn. And on her next turn, she'll get Fire Dog. She can summon Fire Dog and have it kill Mistworm. Then have Flamvell Magician attack and destroy Goblin Zombie. Now, Ramesh will have taken less damage this turn, and will still get a Surge, but now you have him on the back foot. And then you can still make your Stardust Dragon.
Reset her Flamvell counter after making the Stardust Dragon.
On Ramesh's turn, he has nothing on the field. Now, he'll probably choose to use a Smashing Ground Book of Life combo, and that whole thing will go down again, because he's got to try to deal with the Stardust Dragon. Or he could think of to do something else. And that something else is that he could summon his Zombie Master, then discard, say, Barrel for Different Dimension, and then bring back his Goblin Zombie. Then send both of them back to the deck to start summon Kasha early and attack directly. Now, on the next turn, Jenny can't really do much, so we'll say she sets her Raiko face down, activates Gold Sark to target Rekindling, and end her turn there. Next turn, Ramesh gets Dandelion. He'll probably attack Raiko with Kasha, and Jenny will use Raiko's effect to destroy Kasha right back. And then mill Saber, Rekindling, and Granika. Ramesh will most likely set the Dandelion for protection, and end his turn there. Now, back to Jenny. She'll draw and get Flamvell Pawn. Now, this is where we speculate if she'd summon Archer and attack Dandelion, or set Pawn in defense mode. If she summons Archer and destroys Dandelion, Ramesh gets 2 fluff tokens and Shindoji next turn.
He'll summon his Shindoji,
and will most likely still banish his 2 cards to get Bottomless Trap Hole. He'll then beat over Archer, and he'll set his Bottomless Trap Hole face down. Now, since Jenny didn't shuffle her deck with Pawn, I don't know what she'll draw next, but I do know that she'll get Rekindling from Gold Sark. So that's anyone's duel at that point, really. Although I'm going to say instead she's just going to set her pawn face down, just so I can stick to the script. Now Ramesh is up. He'll draw and get Shindoji. He'll summon it and most likely, banish his monsters, draw Bottomless, all that stuff. Then he'll attack Pawn. Pawn will search Fire Dog, and he'll set his Bottomless Trap Hole face down. Next, Jenny's going to draw Super Nimble Mega Hamster. She'll use Rekindling, Ramesh will Bottomless, and then Jenny could summon her hamster and remake Stardust Dragon. Attack Shindoji with Stardust and a token with Baby. At the end phase, Flamvell Baby is banished.
Now it's Ramesh's turn. He's going to draw a Pot of Avarice, and this is actually a problem for him here because I don't think he has 5 monsters in his graveyard at this point. And if he doesn't have 5 monsters in his graveyard, well, then he basically just lost the duel. So Jenny wins in that scenario. But if he does have 5 monsters in his graveyard, We'll just say he shuffles every monster's graveyard back into his deck, reshuffles, and draws Mizuki and Torrential by sheer chance. We'll say that he sets his Mizuki face down for safety and his Torrential and end his turn.
And now we're back to Jenny, but I don't know what she's going to draw from there because she didn't shuffle her deck from Flipping Hamster. But obviously she's taking control of this duel again, and Ramesh is now on the back foot yet again. So who knows who could win. There is also a timeline where instead of making Mistworm, he summons Kasha and bounces everything but Flamebell counter back to the deck. Now he'll do 2,000 points of damage, and next turn, Jenny is going to draw Flamebell Baby because Ramesh didn't make her mill it. And she'll probably just set, say, Archer, or maybe she'll use Book of Moon to try and get Kasha off the field as soon as possible, and summon the monster to be over it, because Kasha's original defense is 0. And now we're back on Ramesh's turn, and this is where the duel changes yet again, because Ramesh didn't search his deck for Zombie Master, meaning, again, I don't know what he draws! So he could have drawn anything! Of course, we could just say that all these duelists hard draw into what they drew in the original script. That's possible, but I don't know for sure. And of course, there's one where Ramesh uses Goblin Zombie and Plague Spirit to make a level 6 Synchro turn 1, but at this point, again, we're all basically making up new duels. So in terms of pure raw duel, and all the information we have, in my personal opinion, I don't think that Jenny could have lost to Ramesh. Because while zombies have been and always will be a strong deck in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Flamebells have an in-archetype Soul Charge, and she is running more than one copy of that card. Plus, to be perfectly honest, I don't want to see any continuity where a creep like Ramesh wins. No thank you. And to be perfectly honest, as a FanDuel Analyzer Guide thing, it was just nice to have someone actually keeping track of the cards that the duelist had in hand, making sure it was always the same and right amounts. Trust me, that's a luxury in this field. It's not a luxury I'm going to have in the next duel I do, but that's another story. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to give me suggestions if you can think of any. And I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care now!